Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this, and so let's go ahead and create a new document. I have typed in startup one, restarted it, so it's always going to say imperial metric. I'm going to do inches, of course, here, and then there's a couple things you want to read. It says there's two sets of parallel lines with implied tangency, meaning that this line, this 90 degree, is a tangent. So I basically have to work with what it gives me. I'm going to start with my radius here, my 0. So I'm going to go circle, and I'll go to center radius. That's going to be my 0, 0, 0, comma 0, enter. And then the radius is 0.875, enter, right? I don't see it because I need to line that up. I'll go to top here. So there it is. And so what I'm going to do is, what I could do is I could say, all right, my next circle, the X is at 1.375, and then the radius, it's a little tricky because I actually have to take this 2.75, subtract 0.625. I don't want to do all that math in my head, so I'm just going to go like this: 0, comma 0. I'm going to come down. This is just essentially a construction line, so down 2.75. Enter. And I'm just following the dimensions: 1.375. Enter, and then that radius is 0.625. So rather than try to do all that math, just in my head, I'm just going to do that, right? So then what I'll do is I'll do another circle radius. This is the easy stuff. I mean, I don't mean to apply. It's not. There it is, 0.625. I'll do the top circle, and then I'm going to essentially join them together. So this one, I know I'll start here. I'll go up. It says the height is 4.7. That's what that PDF is saying, 4.7 from that point. Enter. And then to the right, it's 2.2. And I'll type in 2.2. And that's where I'll make my next circle. Enter. So what I'll do is I'll go to circle radius. I'll snap on here. And then I'm going to verify all these dimensions. That's why it's okay to snap. And the radius is 0.875. So what I should do before I get too carried away here, let's just verify that. So I'm going to verify this dimension here. That looks good. I'm going to do this rather quickly, so just bear with me here. And then this one is going to be, it should be 1.375. All right. So you just want to, before you get too carried away, because what happens is if you don't verify it and you start dimensioning, or you start to do tangents and all that, you can waste a lot of time, and then you're working backwards. All right. So let's just real quickly verify all these dimensions. And I'm going to do this in a similar format as the textbook. That way I don't have to redo everything. All right. So let's go ahead and I can verify the radiuses real quick here, just to be sure I'm okay. Enter. All right. And I'll just move this one out of the way. Okay. So everything looks good. Let's get rid of these construction lines. I don't need them. It's just going to confuse me or whatever. Let's just leave it there for now. So what I'm going to do is I need to make a tangent line. So there's two ways of doing it. You're going to want to see this bar, and the way you get this bar is you go to Tools, Toolbar, AutoCAD. It's a real pain, right? Tools, Toolbar, AutoCAD, and you hit Object Snap. So I was working around it. You can work around it, but you want to get that bar, and this is what you'll get here. So if you leave your mouse over it, it'll tell you what some of these things do, right? So snap to perpendicular, snap to tangent. So I'll do the snap to tangent. So there's two ways of doing it. I select the line, I come over here, I select snap to tangent, I hit my circle, and then I'd have to do it again. Or I can just type in tangent or TAN, and then I go, and there's that line, all right? So I know there's a lot of lines there. So I have this outside line. And so it says that it's parallel, but I can't just do, you think, well, I'll just do two tangent lines here, right? It won't work. So if I do a TAN, that's another way of doing it. And then a TAN for tangent, that's not parallel, right? So it might look like it's parallel, but if I double check, it's not. So that's not how you do this. So the way that you create this is you're going to go here to line. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select snap to perpendicular, and I'll snap on that line. And so that's going to be my perpendicular. But what I'm going to do is while I'm here, let's go ahead and do the tangent. So I'll say snap to tangent. I'm going to put it right there at that circle. All right. And so what I can do then is I can just take this line and I'm essentially going to drag them out on the green line. If you just hold on to it, it'll come and snap to it. And then I'll do the same thing to this one, and I'll just extend that out. And so now what I can do is I need to create another tangent line off of here. So then I'll say line, I'll go to tangent, select this line. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then I'll do another tangent, TAN. I do this right? All right. And so to verify that, what I would do is just, I need to make sure this is 90 degrees. So come here, and that's 90 degrees. So it's real messy right now. So what I'm going to do is clean it up real quick. Let's just go ahead and type in trim. That is essentially the way you do this. So let me get rid of all these excess lines that are confusing us right now. And that should have simplified this for everybody. So again, what I was doing is really starting from this line, I went and I created a line and I went to snap to perpendicular. And then once I did that, I typed in tangent or tangent, and I went to this circle here. And that's what made that so I could just extend it out to make that work. So at this point then, what I would do is I would go ahead and just type in mirror, M-I-R-R-O-R. There's no sense of doing it all again. And I'm just going to select if I can here, let's just select the lines, not the dimensions, carefully. And I don't need to do the circle. That's okay. So that's good. And push enter. And I should go 90 degrees. And so that looks good. And so trim and just clean this up a little bit. So I think I have the majority of it. Let me just go ahead and dimension this properly. So I have this right here. All right, there's my line. I have to be careful that I'm not that I actually have a part line here. Okay, that's good. So then it looks like I've got all my lines. Let's go ahead and I don't need these construction lines kind of get in my way here. What I could do is be working in a, what I could do is we're going to learn how to use layers. And so I could just do these construction lines in another layer. I don't have to delete them. Notice I'm extending the lines here off. So I have that space. You always want to have a space from the center point. If you're not seeing the center point, what you want to do is go to, let's see, dimension, and you want to click center mark. And that, if you're not seeing the center mark, it's because you don't have that selected. So far, so good. I don't need this 90 degree here. Let's go ahead and make this part line thicker. So I'll come down here, make sure that I'm have the line weight selected. I'm going to select my part lines and do this real quick. And let's finish this up, being very careful not to select the dimensions. The line, we said the line weight is, I'm using 0.50 and I want to see it. So let's go ahead and click on here. So that looks good. Then the tolerances are off. It looks like I need to get my font a little smaller. So I'm going to go in here to my format, dimension style. This is, with the exception of the 2.2 and the 10/100ths, these are in the thousands. So let's go to modify, and I can just change that one. I don't know why it's only saying all the other ones. Oh, no, it's okay. So these are actually dimensions. So the radiuses are at thousands and the dimensions are in hundreds. So I may have to just change that on each one. Then I also want to make it smaller. The best way to make it smaller is to do the fit. And then let's go ahead and try like 0.8 or 0.7. Might be a little small, but let's try that. Say okay. I don't think there's anything else. All my text is horizontal here. So that's good. And I'll say centered. All right. Okay. Everything looks good. All right. Set current. and close. There we go. All right, it's maybe a little small, but this radius should be, all right. So then what I need to do is, if you notice, the radiuses are different. So I could go in. So what I could do is, if you notice, I could go change it. And then I think the easiest thing to do, honestly, would be to select them. And then, so I'd select my radiuses and I'd go over here to the properties and I would do it here. So text, I'm going to go to, bear with me here. I always lose this thing, precision, and I'll change it right here. And there you'll see it like that. Okay. And then, you know what? I have to get rid of the leading one here. This is such a pain. They're just so sneaky on me. So what I could do is, let's just go back to the, I could find it in here, but I'll go ahead to the format and I'll just change that on the dimension style. And that's going to be in, let's see if I can remember this real quick here, in the, it's going to be leading text, primary units. There it is. Zero suppression is there. So that's the one I don't need. I think that's good. Always little things there. So I'll say, okay, set current, close. There it is. So I think I'm pretty much there. Some of you may notice that this is a different line. I can figure out, I'm not going to really be too stressed about that, but let's just make sure that we're off the center. So we've got a little gap of these dimensions. You always want to have that spacing for the center line. Let's see here. I got to pull this all off. All right. This is a little tricky because it's showing me my X and Y 0, 0, my center point. I could always, how could I do this? I could just move this. Probably not the best way to do it, but if I move it off of there, then I can see I've got all these extra lines that I probably don't need. So, and you always want to avoid any text overlap, but this is okay, right? So we're good here. I'd accept it if it was outside too, that's fine. But I think that's basically it. Hopefully, oh, I missed, look at what I did here. This one should be 0.375. So I could change that manually. I change it. I'm always careful that if I do it in the tutorial, I don't want to not grade it if you follow exactly. So let me just fix this right now. That was in the precision. Where's precision? Come on, precision, precision. And
at the bottom.
At the bottom, I'm almost there, almost there. Let's see. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, see, you know, this is, you just got to be careful. I don't know why they're throwing all these different 2.75 hundredths and tenths and hundredths, but let's just, I think we're good here. So now that I'm happy with this, I got the spacing the way I wanted it. All right, so let's go ahead and print it. Oh, you know what? I don't see those center marks here. So if you don't see the center marks, dimension, and I'll go to center mark. You should just snap it and it should appear. Enter, right? So you notice those center marks weren't there. So I put them in there. I think I've got everything in here. So now I'd save it and then I'd say, you know, print, Control P. I'm going to print to a Autodesk PDF. I always recommend that you do the window. You're not, right now we're just going to finish paper window, and then let's just center this the best we can. This is where I really can visually see, okay, am I, you know, obviously I'll see if I can tell you how to squeeze that thing in there, but I think it all looks good. Everything looks good to me. So I'm happy with this. And then I would go ahead and print it, save it as a PDF file. And this is going to be the, we call this the V slide plate, and I put it in my folder. All right, so bear with me, sorry, slide plate. And I'm going to stop the recording here, and then I'd also save the DWG file. So let me stop the recording.